Joining us now on the line is Ann Coulter. She's a New York Times bestselling author. Her latest book is Resistance is Futile. She also wrote a book called In Trump We Trust. Ann, your reaction to President Trump and the proposal that he made this weekend.
Happy Martin Luther King Day, Steve Robinson. You're a very hardworking man to be working today. Well, as usual, I wanted to strangle Trump, and then I listened to his critics. So all's right with the world again. Thank you, media. No, I mean, as I've said before, and it's worth saying here so people understand this, no matter how limited an amnesty is claimed to be, it can be, as it was in 1986 for agricultural workers who could prove they had worked on an American farm for 6 months of the prior year. The courts and the immigration courts themselves will just open it up, and suddenly everybody is claiming to be a farm worker, and the immigration courts, and certainly, the Ninth Circuit courts, just start granting amnesty to everyone. So among the amnestied farm workers in 1986, for example, were 2 World Trade Center bombers. They were driving. One was driving a cab in New York. He was known as Mahmoud the Red. He'd never seen a farm in America, but he applies and gets accepted as a farm worker. Another problem that I'm probably illustrating with this, but I should state clearly, is it ties up our courts for 20 years, literally 20, 30 years after the 1986 amnesty. Not just your random illegal alien, but criminal aliens, people who were here illegally and then went on to commit felonies, were demanding, no, my lawyer didn't tell me that I was entitled to amnesty. It just ties up our courts pointlessly. And the third point I would make is that I would deport the dreamers before anybody else. I would deport them before the criminals, because at least, when you catch the illegal alien criminals, they say, okay, you got me. The dreamers, they go on TV and they're indignant with us. Why haven't you amnestied me yet? This is an outrage. I demand it right now. I mean, I've never seen such arrogant, entitled people. So any amnesty at all, no matter how they claim it's going to be limited, it just goes to the courts, ties up the courts, and millions of people, even people who are not here right now, will get amnesty. That's why I wanted to shoot the TV when I was listening to Trump's address. Other than that, it was quite good. And then, MSNBC continues with the commentary, and they're indignant with him. How dare you even make such an offer? You've been hearing about nothing but compromise. Oh, the president, he's got to learn compromise, and he's such a child, and he's going to have to be an adult. We need an adult in the room to compromise. He ties himself in knots. Trump, he betrays his base. He offers a gigantic compromise that he never, ever should have offered. And they say, nope, not good enough. So luckily we were saved here by the Democrats and the media's zealotry and stupidity. Incidentally, what I think he could do by way of compromise is, there are lots of dumb government programs that Democrats love that we know are useless, but you could offer to fund those, even, stupid counterproductive programs. Offer to raise the national minimum wage. That's on the Democrats.
Oh, no, we can't. No, we don't want to engage in ignorant economic policy just to get the border. I mean, raising the minimum wage, that's talking about putting people out of work.
Yes, that's true, as we've seen from all of the headlines, but the Democrats are committed to it. I'm saying anything would be better than offering amnesty. Offer to fund Head Start. Another utterly useless program, but the Democrats love it. Okay, we'll give you as much money for Head Start as you're giving us for the wall. I don't care what he compromised. Okay, fine, compromise. I'm naming things that yes, you and I and all of your listeners know are stupid, a waste of money, and counterproductive. But that's what they're claiming about the wall, obviously insanely, and lying about it. Yet and still, compromise on anything else. Do not ever offer amnesty, because if there is any amnesty, if there is an amnesty for redheaded nuclear scientists, you are taking away the entire point of the wall. The country will be overwhelmed. You're giving away the country in 3 months instead of instead of 5 years, which is what we're headed for now.
So we're on day 31 of the partial government shutdown, and it doesn't look like either side is going to blink. So I guess, what do you think the resolution is? Do you think he continues to offer compromises and tries to win this in the court of public opinion to look like he's the reasonable guy, he's the one who's trying to find the solution, or do you think he should order a national emergency?
Well, neither one, actually. I don't think there's anything more for him to give up. We're already, standing shivering in our underwear. What else can he offer them? I think he is looking reasonable. He can keep giving speeches on it. I think that's a great idea. I think he's a very good speaker, and as long as he keeps describing what a disaster this is, not only, the sort of obvious cases of the criminals and the drug dealers coming in and the heroin epidemic, but, even your most sympathetic illegal alien, the one who commits no crimes, who is just a hard worker, who just wants a better life for his family. I can admire that person and feel sorry for that person and say this person is a wonderful worker, but it's still driving down the wages of the people already here, including lots of Hispanics and lots of African Americans, and we have to care about the people already here. We can't keep doing this favor for employers by bringing in lots of low-wage workers, or just lots of workers generally. It's a boon to employers. It's a disaster for employees. So ask yourself, which one are you? But I think, and I also don't think he needs to declare a national emergency. I don't really care if he does or doesn't. But he doesn't need to. As I've said many times, he is the commander-in-chief. He has control of the military, the entire Defense Department, Homeland Security. That the way our government is divided, the entire power of the executive branch is in one man's hands. He knows, we know, the American people know that, if we were attacked, he'd be allowed to retaliate even if we're not attacked. He can just, randomly start bombing Syria. He can order the military to build fences in Syria and Afghanistan. Surely the President of the United States, in his job description someplace there is, protect our country. So I think he has won the public relations battle. I think it's very clear that the Democrats' idea of compromise is they win everything, we get nothing. Maybe give another speech, but he ought to just start building it.
All right, Ann, I want to switch topics a little bit because there was an outbreak of fake news over the weekend or last week.
Oh, was there?
So I guess we've got the Covington Catholic School case which has now been the entire left wing narrative smearing these young male Christian MAGA hat wearing kids. That's been completely debunked. The narrative is completely the opposite of what the lefties tried to push on us, and even some of the Never Trumpers. But then we also have the BuzzFeed story that just imploded. Special Counsel Mueller shooting it down. So I'll let you take your pick of which one you want to react to.
Well, I'll quickly say you would be completely prepared for the BuzzFeed story on what if Trump did this? Would that be a felony? Then could we impeach him? I cover all of these, and I think in a brief and amusing way in my book, Resistance is Futile. So earlier in the day, some of my friends were getting nervous about it, and I said, no, this is what the modern media is. It's just wishful thinking. If Trump robbed a bank, then could we impeach him? Then could we? Oh, let's talk about that for the next 3 days. And the Covington Catholic Schools kids, I think, is the biggest story in years. It really shows you what monstrous Nazi fascists these people are.
The stuff they're saying on social media is nasty. These good, tolerant progressives are advocating for a school shooting. They're talking about punching these kids. They want them, never to be accepted to college somewhere.
They're calling the colleges. It's shocking. It's disgusting. And the entire story is the reverse. It ought to be the New York Times motto, the opposite of the truth. These poor kids, they go for the March to Life. They're everything the left hates. They're sweet, attractive, white, male, Catholic, wearing MAGA hats? No, they want to exterminate you. And this story, how it just caught fire immediately, just one picture there. It turns out these kids are just waiting for their bus. They're doing their school cheers. They're set upon by Black Lives Matter and Black Israelites screaming disgusting, horrible things at them, telling one of the Black Catholic school students, when you become an adult, they're just going to disembowel you for your organs. And then that activist Indian whose life career, I mean, I'm already suspicious of the Vietnam era veteran. The age doesn't quite match up. Could we have, somebody look into that? But his entire life is going around falsely accusing white people of discriminating against him.
You think he has a Senator Blumenthal problem?
Well, I do. I mean, boy, that's an easy thing to claim without much checking, but that's just one point. There's absolutely no question that he's been going around staging these fake attacks on him for being an Indian. Luckily, I mean, it's been very bad for the left, the existence of cell phone video, because there are so many videos of this incident now. He was the one who walked up to the kids, and this jackass is just beating the drum right in the poor Catholic kid's face. The Catholic kid was really very sweet, actually. He's just standing there smiling. A lot of the kids, they thought, "Oh, you're joining in our high school cheers."
Yeah, and he
they
puts
didn't
out
realize
the kid puts out the statement saying, "I was just trying to be calm and not react and not escalate this situation. I was, silently saying a prayer. I smiled because I wanted him to know that I wasn't going to escalate this confrontation." I mean, the kid handled himself more responsibly than 100% of the media activists involved in this story.
Well, I think he handled himself better than most people would have.
Absolutely.
And considering this is just a teenager, and they're being set upon first by the Black Israelites and the Black Lives Matter people yelling, "Go home Europeans," and crackers, racist, calling the Black Catholic the N-word, really ugly taunts. And then the Indian nut walking up and beating the drum right in that kid's face. I think very few people would have been able to maintain that level of composure, and especially with such a sweet look on his face. It really shows, other than the Catholic school immediately selling the kids out, at least their parents seem to be doing a good job.
Yeah, and after the entire narrative is debunked, the New York Times headline is "Fuller Picture Emerges of Viral Video of Native American Man and Catholic Students." A fuller picture. Which,
by the way, if you actually read the body of the article, is more lies.
Yeah,
they still are lying about. In their correction, they're still lying about.
They can't just admit that they were wrong. I mean, it's the same thing with BuzzFeed. It's the same thing with New York Times.
They're continuing it.
Ugh. All right.
No, it's really this should be the end of the media. We can believe nothing they say. Nothing.
All right, Ann, we got to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Howie Carr Show. Your latest book is "Resistance is Futile," available everywhere fine books are sold. Right, Ann?
That's right. Thank you, Steve. Talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you next week. This is Steve Robinson in for Howie Carr.